Hello everyone, welcome back to Speaking Spurs with me, Kieran, talking all things Tottenham. So today's video, we are going to talk about the build-up and press conference to the Spurs versus Leyton Orient game, which is away, 3 o'clock kickoff. I'm going to tell you everything that Nuno said, a little bit on both teams, how you can watch the game live, and it's just exciting to be back. There will be lots of players missing because of the Euros and the Copa America, so expect to see a young squad, probably players that we'd expect to go out of Spurs this summer, just a chance to put them in the shop window to help them earn those moves. But before we get into that, I just want to say a massive, massive thank you to all of you that have supported the channel so far. That's all of you that have watched the videos, those of you that have liked and commented, and massive respect to everyone that has subscribed to the channel so far. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel and show your support. It really means a lot. Look, the last 48 hours have been an absolute whirlwind on this channel. Like, some of my videos have managed to break the 2,000 watch mark. Now, this last one that I put up, it's on its way to 7,000 views. It's like well surpassed the 6,000 views mark. My subscribers had gone up by like 200 within 48 hours, which is massive considering when I started it was such a struggle. So massive, massive thank you to all of you, and please continue to support the channel. And look, the channel has gone so mad that I'm getting pushed up the searches. I'm being suggested by some of the bigger guys that run their channels within YouTube, to the point where I got contacted about a project with one of the major players within social media, YouTube and Facebook. I'm not going to name them, but look, I was contacted through Instagram. We had some conversations about the possibility of doing a show. The casting director really liked me and was trying to push me as much as he could. In the end, the producers have decided to go with someone different. It's understandable because it's a pilot and they really want sort of like big names to draw people in. However, in the future, if the show's a success, then there's a chance they'll bring me on. But I'm also on standby just in case the Tottenham person they've got, which they haven't named to me, can't turn up. So it's exciting times. All right, it was a little bit disappointed not to get over the line with it, but the fact that my name was being mentioned in conversations with, something so huge already is just an honour, and that's just down to all you guys at home. So thank you so much for supporting my channel. Please continue to do so. But look, at the end of the day, this wasn't what it was meant to be about, but it's opening doors for me. And, the more doors that open, the better the channel will be for you guys, because I'll be able to get better content, hopefully interviews with some people in and around Tottenham. So you never know. So keep watching and supporting. But let's jump into it and talk about Spurs versus Leyton Orient. So this is our first pre-season, and it will be at the Brea Group Stadium, 3 p.m. kickoff UK time. And if you want to watch the game, head over to TottenhamHotspur.com. You can find all the information there. Or if you've got the app already, you can watch it on Spurs TV. It's not on any normal TV channels. So Spurs TV is the way to go if you want to watch the game. I'll be watching it because I'm eager to see what some of these youngsters to do, what sort of system Nuno's going to play, just some energy levels to see what's going on. This will be the O's third pre-season game. They lost the first one, then they managed to magnificently hold West Ham to a 0-0 draw, so that's a major, major coup for them in their build-up. They are going to be without a couple of players today, but as we say, we're going to be without loads. So what Nuno has said about the game is, let's compete. It's been a hard week, and the match is part of our schedule and the ideas that we have for the week. It's a good chance to play and enjoy ourselves and put things together that we've been working on, and it will help the players find their fitness. Also, with this game, we are competing for the JE3 Foundation Trophy, and that is in memory of our former player and the O's former manager, Justin Edinburgh. He tragically passed away in 2019 from cardiac arrest, and the the JE3 Foundation, they aim to support the UK heart health charities, and they are campaigning to legislate law, which will be Justin's law, to make it compulsory for all health, fitness and sports facilities to be equipped with a PAD, which is a public access defibrillator. Now, you may have seen these in some of the places that you've been to. They'll be on the wall in like a green box that looks like a modern shaped first aid box, and essentially they're ridiculously easy to use. I've been trained on one at work, but the idea of these public access defibrillators is that you open it up, it's got the instructions there, and anyone should be able to use it. They are so simple to use. They're a fantastic thing and can be an absolute lifesaver. So fingers crossed that we can do all we can to support and get this sort of thing over the line. Very important, very, very. Right. So Nuno's word on that was that it's a good chance to help raise funds, all in memory of Justin, who played more than 200 times for Tottenham Hotspur. So look, it'll be a good game, I have no doubts. And with Leyton Orient already playing 2 pre-season games, this will be their 3rd one, their fitness levels will start to be creeping up to a decent level. So it'll be an interesting test for us. Holding West Ham to a 0-0 draw will give them confidence going into this game. But, you know, we'll move on to what Nuno said in his actual press conference, and his first proper one for Spurs, because he'd already had his introductory interview in-house. This is his first chance talking in front of all the guys that are going to be pestering him with questions all season. And it was no different this time, because unfortunately the majority of it was around Harry Kane. You would have seen already a lot of fans on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube channels getting very excited that Nuno basically said Kane's staying. However, during this conversation, I will tell you why that's not necessarily a guarantee based on things he said. I've cut out some of the stuff that was said in the press conference because, you know, you get those generic questions that aren't really important to things that we need to know. And they're ones that, you know, where you've got the answers that you expect a manager to have because they're at a new club, and you would always talk nicely about your new club. But right, I'm not going to talk through really the questions. I'm just going to go through the majority of the answers for you. So he said, so far the boys have been great, fantastic attitudes and commitment. He's delighted to be at Spurs. He also, this was interesting, when talking about transfers, he said himself, Paratici and Steve Hitchin have been talking about players. They're aware there's a lot of work that needs to be done, but it is hard to improve our squad because we have so many great and talented players within the squad. Obviously, he's going to say that. He's not going to turn around and say there's players that he wants to get rid of, because we may not be able to bring in the players who want to replace them, so you may be stuck with some of the players there. Last thing you want to do is rattle feathers by saying that the squad is not as good as it should be. He was essentially saying, look, the squad's great, but we do need some more players. And he was clever because he said we need players that are different. They offer different things to what we've already got to make more of like a balanced squad, is essentially what he was getting at. He was asked about Harry, obviously, and the biggest statement that came is, Harry is our player, period. Now, this is the statement that has got everybody excited, thinking that Harry Kane is definitely staying. Most of the time he was talking about Harry when asked about him after this was that Harry is a world-class player. He was asked about whether he'd be excited to work with Harry based on saying Harry is our player, period. And he said, instead, it was, I'm excited to work with all the players. And Harry Kane is a world-class player. He's a top talent. That, to me, does not say he is confident Harry Kane is staying. He skipped over the question where he was asked if he'd had guarantees from Daniel Levy as to whether Harry was staying. So look, don't get too excited. When he says Harry is our player, period, that can be taken however you want it. Like, at the moment, Harry Kane is our player. And until somebody comes in with a massive bid, he's our player, period. So the intent is that we're not going to sell him. However, if a bid of 150 to 200 million comes in, of course we're going to look at it. It's pure profit. We could do with the money to reinvest in the squad. We've lost a lot of money. Obviously, the stadium naming rights deal is apparently getting closer, which will really, really help us and would make it less of an urgency to get players out the door. But look, I want Kane to stay. I really do. But the fact is, they didn't win the Euros. He's lost 2 semi-finals and a final with us. And now not winning a trophy this summer, he's going to be deflated, and he's really, really, really going to want to win something. Look, I don't think he's going to throw his toys out the pram and push for a move. However, he will be saying that he wants to go. But this is where the Harry Kane is our player period comes in, because Nuno's not stupid. He knows in this financial climate that the only team in England that will pay the money for him is Manchester City. And even Guardiola has come out and said that it's going to be difficult to pay that kind of money for a player. And Man City don't usually pay ridiculous amounts for the players. They spend a lot of money because they bring in a lot of players in one hit. They refresh their squad constantly. And most of their money goes out in wages, which is the attractive part for the players. So that's where the majority of their money goes. It's all on player wages. Fees for players, they actually do quite well. And obviously the players that they've got that they sell go for a decent fee as well. So I think teams are going to be priced out of Harry Kane. And he's already said in that golfing interview with Gary Neville that he doesn't want to go abroad at this stage of his career. So he could end up staying with us just by default. And that gentleman's agreement by Daniel Levy, technically he's not breaking if he says to Harry, look, if they're not going to pay the money, I can't let you go. Simple as. And that's how it's going to work. Moving on, Nuno said, we want to make the fans proud. We want them to enjoy the players. This is our focus. We want to create a good atmosphere. So let's enjoy ourselves. He was asked if there was anything that he did at Wolves when he first came in that he would like to replicate. His answer, I really liked on this one. Each club is different. Each group of players is different. So you need a different approach. And this is partly why he was brought in, because at all the clubs he's been at so far, he's catered for the needs of what he's got and the individual club. Like, no two clubs have been the same. You may play same formations, you may play in a similar way, but the personnel are different, the fans are different, the club is different, the culture's different. He's been able to adapt to every club he's been at, so hopefully he can replicate that here. He was asked about Matt Doherty, obviously, because they have a good connection relationship. They've worked together before. They're asking what Matt Doherty needs to do to kind of push on after having what was relatively a poor year for him. He said he just needs to continue to do what he's already doing. He needs to commit himself. He needs to work hard. The quality is already there. I know him. He knows me. Look, and I think it's just a case of, as we've said before, he was played slightly out of position last season. He's obviously more attacking than he is a generic right back. He can defend, but that's not his main game. He's not there just to sit back and defend only. He's got an all-round game, and he loves to push up. And if he is going to be our first choice on the right, that's what Nuno will have him do. It'll get him back to what he does best. What else? He was up. Generic question, but I will put this one in here anyway. About Tottenham, he said, look, Tottenham is a fantastic club. It has the best facilities in the world. Now, that would be our training facilities, our hotel, our ground itself. But he said we need to raise our standards to equal those facilities. And quite rightly so. It's one of them. It happens with everyone. You look at Arsenal when they moved to the Emirates from Highbury. They had a dip in form. West Ham struggled to start with when they went to the Olympic Stadium. We struggled a little bit when we went to Wembley. But then as the season went on, we grew into it. We struggled straight away in this stadium. But this is the sort of thing that happens. There's an adjustment period. He was asked about players being in his plans. So this one was about the fact that Skippy and Sessegnon have returned. Are they going to be in his plans? His answer, every player is in my plans, even the under-23s. And that's great to hear. Look, one of the things that we like in this club is to promote youth. Mainly from our side as fans, because we want homegrown talent and we want players that have a real affinity with the club. From Daniel Levy's point of view, I mean, he is a Tottenham fan as well. Let's not forget that. He does support Tottenham, so he will want to see that. But from a financial point of view, you would love for everybody through your youth setup to move on to the first team. That's going to save you a lot of P's, which means you'll only have to give them contracts. Saves a lot of money. No agent fees, anything like that. But I think the reason why he said every player's in his plans is quite rightly, you're not just going to send players out the door. You need to have a look at them first, because there are players that we might say that we want to see leave Spurs. However, they might fit in perfectly into a Nuno Espirito Santo playing system. They may have just been utilised in a system that doesn't suit them before. So to naively say XYZ needs to go doesn't make sense. What else? He was asked if he's going to have a big squad for the game. The answer is no, obviously. He laughed about it. Unfortunately, we know a lot of players aren't back yet. There'll be fitness issues and stuff like that. So expect a lot of youngsters. But it should be fun nonetheless. And the other question that I know us Spurs fans don't want to hear the answer to, but it was, will Gareth Bale return to Spurs? And the answer was quite simply, no. Gareth Bale will not be returning to Spurs. So he's not in the plans whatsoever. It's not even a conversation. And also, he hasn't been linked so far in any of the transfer news that we've spoken about. It looks to me like Ancelotti will reintegrate him back into the squad. Apparently, he's just going to do the one more season. He will retire from club football. However, he will keep himself available for Wales for the World Cup. And then I'm assuming he will retire straight after that completely. Look, it's a shame. I feel like he had a lot to give, and in front of the fans for a whole season, I feel like he could have been dangerous for us. He could have fit in really well, but it's a lot of money. It's obviously something he doesn't want at the moment. And if you're going to have your final year and you know your manager at Real Madrid is going to play you, it makes no sense to go to Tottenham whatsoever. So as much as I would have loved to have seen him for the whole season, it's not going to happen. But, you know, I'm looking forward to the game today, as I'm sure you all are. So make sure you tune in to Spurs TV at 3 p.m. UK time. If you are in a different country and a Spurs fan, make sure you check what the game time is, your local time. But thanks for sticking around. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel, support this video with a like, and as always, leave your comments. It's the one thing that I'm very can't get the words out again. I'm very good at replying to your comments, and I will continue to do so as long as I can. Eventually, the channel is going to get to the point where we're going to get hundreds and hundreds of comments, and it will be very hard for me to reply, but I will still always try. So please leave those comments and talk amongst yourselves. Thank you for sticking around and watching, and as always, guys, come on you Spurs.